Welcome to the final talk of WeTest Athens 2026. Please come join us, have a seat. I know it's been a long day, but a full one, full with great talks, meaningful conversations, and that unique community energy that we have as every year. My name is Irini. I'll be hosting the final talk for today. This talk is Test Like a Parent, Skills from Motherhood that Enhance Software Quality, given by Zaklina Polak-Metanovic, QA consultant at Connect. So please, let's give Zaklina our warmest welcome.
Hi, thank you all. Thank you to these nice organizers for inviting me or for accepting me today. I'm very pleased to be today with you, and thank you all for coming here. So I know that it's like my colleagues say, the full day full of lessons, many learnings, many AI. So just a small spoiler, there is no AI here. And just to, you read the abstract, you know something about, you have some ideas. So at the beginning, I would just like to hear, to see what you are thinking about parenting and career. How do you think that these two things are going together? So I was having the pretty similar conference before some 6 months in Germany, in Frankfurt, and I would really like to see these differences between different countries and different cultures. How do you see it? Should be just few small questions, so it's just few minutes to answer them, to see how do you think it goes together. And just from the Frankfurt experience, they were pretty confident in the first two questions, but the third one about the biases was, yes, pretty bad ones. So from the results that I can see here, I can share them with you, or I can just read it to you, whatever you like. I'm just having them on the phone. So it is... let's say, in contrary a little bit also on the first two questions, you are most struggling and neutral, but not so very confident that it can go together. And do you think that it can make your skills better? You are here more confident. But regarding these biases, there is 57% till now that you are familiar with these biases, and very often, and sometimes like 36.8%. So I think that this is still now important subject that we need to talk about and reduce these biases and say that we can really do it together. But let's see what would we find about. So just to start a little bit about why I select this subject to be my conference talk, when it was like really long time ago, when I was really young, and yes, I'm a mother and I have 3 kids, 3 daughters. They are all pretty big one. Now all of them are older than 18. And I'm from Croatia, and we have the law there after 3 kids or after the twins, but in my situation it was the same because I have twins. And there is a law that you can be at home after 3 kids or after twins for 3 years. And you do not need to, but you cannot get the kindergarten, let's say, so easily. So you are somehow forced to be sometimes with them. And I was pretty long time, and after some time I asked myself, how could I come back to work how would it look like, because from my perspective it was like a long time period thinking only about what would we eat that day or to which playground we will go. And from my perspective, they are learning like rocket scientists, and they are really grow, and I'm just drowning deeper and deeper. And I really have doubts how it would look like. So from that perspective, I would like to talk, to share my experience and talk to you, especially to you that maybe also have the same doubts, want to be a parent but don't know how it would go with your career. Should you, I don't know, sacrifice something? But also maybe also to all of you that are juggling already with parenting and career, but also to anyone working with the parents or evaluate them or something like that. So I think it could be interesting. Everybody can find something for themselves. So as I already said, I ask this question I ask myself this question: can I really do this motherhood and career in the same time? And let's see if parenting can give us some skills or sharpen some of them and make us better at our job. So this is the last session. Like I said, I'm positive that you are full of learnings and so on. So we have, I think, time, and I think I would like to, we would have a time for everything. So I would share some my personal stories and some really parallels between these stories and the skills or learnings that I take from these stories, let's say, and that can be used in your business environment. And if some of these my personal stories inspire some of you and you remember something that you want to share with us, I would really like all of you to contribute, or if you make some other learnings, see yourself in some of my stories and want to say that you think that you experience something similar, please just raise your hand and share this experience. I do not need to be main character here in this talk, so we can all make that together. So I would start with my first talk, my first story, and it's called Cooking the Meat for Cats. As I told, I have twins. One of them, she was about 10 years old, and it was before Corona time. I was at my work, and she called me that she wants to cook a meat for cats. And okay, she has some experience. She does not know everything, but it's not so important. So I told her, just take this meat, put it to the pot, and just cook it for about 30 minutes. And after some time, sorry, in the middle of the story. Yes, after some time, she just, I tell her, well, you can actually put it to the high heat, and after when it boils, you can lower the heat down. And I heard her paused and said, what need to boil? And then I said, yeah, water needs to boil, of course. But you didn't say water. You didn't mention water. No, I actually didn't mention water. I assume that cooking involves water. And yes, that is pretty much things that we are usually assuming, something that we are not saying loud. And just, I would give you, you can watch, I encourage you to watch this YouTube video. It does not have anything, it's from, just a second. I will just give you a few seconds of this video.
Step 1. Get 2 pieces of bread out. Got 'em. Get a butter knife and get some peewee. Take 1 piece of bread, spread it around.
We do have presentation here, just. Okay. It's a YouTube video. It was sharing around before some, I don't know, some years. So I found it interesting, and it's exactly about this method of about this of be so precise. So you can look at it later on. Okay, so you can look at it later on. The whole, I will just give you this 30 seconds or about something. It is Josh Donner. He is, I don't know, some influencer. I don't follow him. I don't know much about, but I really like this video. So it would be just 30 seconds. He asked his kids to give him instructions about to make the sandwich, but exact instructions.
Step 1. Get 2 pieces of bread out. Got 'em. Get a butter knife and get some peewee. Take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
No, Dad, with the peanut butter.
I'm just doing what it says. It says take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
Hold on.
Get some jelly, rub it on the other half of the bread.
No, Dad, open the jelly.
Well, it doesn't say to do that. Put the breads together on top of each other. Take a big bite.
So, and it goes like that. So, about being precise, let's just then now return to the presentation. Okay, great. We make this part, and I hope that we will not go further with the cutting. Okay. So you can look the whole video if you want later on. I think that you will get also this all presentations, and you can find it there. And just also one small thing, if you can imagine, that's not AI, some photos. I want this presentation also to be a little bit personal, so it's really my twins, and in the other photos you can also look at them. And yes, if we want to make some parallels between the real life or our career or business life, I would say that here are some learnings that hopefully you can find also. Like, never assume, always check, because something that is obvious to us, maybe it's not really obvious to someone else. Also, instructions need to be clear and complete. Let's say in the testing, we are all close with the testing world, hopefully. And if you're opening the ticket and you, let's say, assume that a developer would know on which environment some error happened, or on which version or something like that, and you do not put this information. So for me, as a mother, it was also very obvious to put all these things, because it's really important, and nobody needs to tell me 2 times to make these things like that, because it's really something that you cannot assume some things. And you need to be sure that the message that you are sending is the one that the other side would receive, and only then we are talking about effective communication. So that would be my first story. I would continue if someone wants to add something. Okay, so let's go to the second story. It's the sock in the hole. It could not be sock, it can be anything. It can be a t-shirt, it can be, I don't know, bag, but it's pretty common situation at my home. It's somewhere, everything is somewhere on the floor. in the kitchen, I don't know, in the living room, and I just want this to disappear. In this example, we will talking about, let's say, sock in the hall, and I want this sock to disappear, and if I say, can someone, I don't know, pick this sock and I want to disappear, it would usually happen nothing, because my kids all wear the same kind of socks, and I don't know who is the owner of the sock, and usually, I don't know, the one who is not in the room, she is the owner, or the owner has a headset, and if I just say, can someone pick up this sock? Yeah, nobody feel responsible. And if I want really to make something in that, I need to be more specific. If I say, I don't know, Marta, can you please pick up the sock? Then I give this task to somebody. I give the ownership of the task. And if I want to be fair, maybe I want to check, Marta, is it your sock? Please, can you pick it up? So it's up to me, or how is it beginning of the day or the end of the day, or how I feel. I'm think that parents probably see themselves here. So ambiguity, yes, ambiguity breeds in action, and only clarity gets results, and it's exactly something that we can see in our work. In our everyday business, we need to be precise. We need to give the ownership to our tasks. If we are talking again about our opening the tickets, then we need to give this ticket to somebody. If we put it, I don't know, to the backlog, I don't know about you, but from my experience, it could be in a backlog for, I don't know, months, weeks, ages. And only if you give it to somebody, if you have an owner, then this owner is responsible for this task. And if we want to be fair, maybe we need to investigate a little bit. Let's say who is the owner or for this model, or who usually make this kind of tasks or something like that. So then when we have the owner for the task, and if let's say we suppose that the owner would make their task, then we can have the job done. But this ownership things is one of the learnings that also really come easily from parenthood. So I hope that you get the impression how it's going to be. Someone of you want to share something? Do you have some of your ideas? Yes? Yes. Exactly. If let's say if boss tell we need to do that, or someone need to do that, who is someone who needs to do that? He needs to tag someone. If the person is the wrong one, maybe he will after some time say no, that's not my job, and then we will find the right one. But we need to tag someone. You want to say?
Yes, but what happens in case you want to build the accountability in the team?
Yes, if I understand correctly, you have doubts if our accountability is correct. Well, there is someone's, let's say, business, or there is a boss or someone who control. But let's say we all have the tasks or our table, and we are responsible to make our tasks. But if there is task on nobody's table, then there is a problem from my perspective. If there is other problem if the task is on someone's table and he is not doing that. That's another problem, and then, I don't know, boss needs to go and talk with him, but that's another problem, I would say. Is it that's what you want to ask?
If everyone should be responsible for this, what can we do in this case? For example, the suite breaks for some reason, but we are all responsible to go through this situation and check the suite. It's just an example.
Can you repeat it? I'm not got it.
Yes. For example, we have a case where a Cyber Suite fails, and we have to go through this situation in order to discover what fails. And
yes,
everyone in the team should be responsible for this. And I'm just asking, okay, can someone check this?
Is it really everyone? I would really encourage you to have the person who is responsible for. So one person, two persons, or whatever. But you need to know whom you will ask. I don't know. At 12 o'clock, is somebody take a look to the playwright suite and what is the reason why this test is failing. So really not just someone. The whole team, I would really recommend to give this task to someone.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So there was, I think, somebody wants to say something, or I could continue. Okay, so let's go to the third story. It's playground. Yes, as I said, I have twins, and when they were toddlers, about a year and a half, and many people ask me how I managed to go with them to the playground. Let's say one is going to the busy road and the other to a swing, and what can I do? And I always say, yeah, I will just save the one who is in a greater danger. So what can I do? So we are not the wizards or something. And the things that I want to stay at home till, I don't know, 5 in the afternoon when my husband came home, and be the whole time closed at home just is out of the question. I want my kids to go outside to run and so on. So, yes, I always have in my mind some kind of list and priorities and things that I need to do. So also it's very good to develop this, to think a little bit in advance, to think what could be worst that parents usually need to do. And I'm just going after this list, after the priorities, and see what can be, what is always the best option. And I don't know, in this particular situation, maybe is the busy road a little bit more dangerous, but it is decision that we are doing always just in a go to this list, have these priorities, prioritize them, and then get this decision in a second sometimes. And of course, if there is anybody in the playground that could help me, like some of my friends or relatives or anybody, and I just can ask for help for sure. Like I can say, I don't know, can you just take an eye on Helena? I will grab a Petra or something like that. So, and that is exactly many things that we can learn in our career, in our business environment. So we need usually to prioritize things. Let's say it's maybe not so good learnings if it's everything easygoing, if you do not have so many things, so you have a time, let's say. But if you are like 3-4 days before a release, and you have, I don't know, 10 tickets on your desk, and everything needs to be tested now, today. And what can you do? So you need to calm down. There is no, chaos would not give you anything. So you can maybe multitask, but this also multitasking have its limits. So you need to identify what is the most important and make these priorities. Of course, these priorities need to align with someone who is let's say, responsible for the release, not to, I don't know, for you this ticket is most important, but not maybe for the person who is responsible for the release. So let's say you have the list of the most important tickets for this release, and then just, I don't know, estimate. I can make these 3, but for the last 7, I'm really not so positive. And you need to communicate that. And then it's up to them. They need to see what are the possibilities, how they can go further, let's say. I don't know, postpone the release or pull something out from it or something like that. So this prioritization is really many times in your career something that you need to learn how to do, and it's go really smoothly if you have this kind of experience. And ask for help. If there is somebody that can help you, if there is somebody that can step up, just also communicate that, and when you are sharing the responsibilities, then many things are possible. Okay, so one more story done. More questions? Let's go to the 4th one. I have 5 of them, spoiler. So, night shifts, yes. Twins, let's say first 6 months, they need to eat over the nights, and you cannot imagine how stressful that could be. So you need to do everything that is in your power to survive. And let's say it would be like in our situation to plan everything. And before we are going to sleep, there is already prepared 2 bottles with the exact amount of water. And aside there is this milk powder. And then when the first twin just give a sign that she will wake up, I'm in the kitchen putting these bottles to the microwave and then shake it, and the milk is finished in 30 seconds, and both of them would get the milk. Would be fit, because if not, I do not wait, I don't know, 5 minutes that everybody is sleeping, then yeah, she is awake, she will know. That was just not the option. So we try to reduce the risk. We are always looking up front to see what is the worst case scenario, what could happen, and how we can avoid that. Of course, there were many nights that was like horrible, like chaos. But if we can do anything what is in our power to reduce them to the minimum, we will do that with this planning. And also after this many nights and many when you're doing something already, and then you have some kind of ritual, and this ritual is good in the situation when came chaos, and then it helps you to go through this chaotic situation because it gives you some self-confidence, let's say, at least. So what we can learn from that is that preparation and planning is really important in your work also. I think that everybody knows that. But are we really doing that? Let's say from my personal experience, I don't know how you have it on your project, but usually in my project we always plan some time for testing that should come after development, and somehow development is always longer, and this time is just squeezing, and then you are always at the end we do not have enough time to test, let's say. And what is then important to really plan it in advance and to prepare everything. Let's say if you can make the test cases, make them. If you need to adopt the test environment, make it in upfront, so when come these tickets, then you will really be ready just to test them. If you need some test data, prepare them in advance when you have a time. If you need, I don't know, some additional application or something. So really take a look to this ticket that would come to you and prepare everything what is possible. And also, let's say, bunching the things. Like I said, I didn't want the other twin weight to be vague. I just feed them in once. Try to look at all these tickets and see if you are testing, I don't know, or maybe you see where you can adopt it in some other your daily business. But let's say if you have some 10 tickets, don't just wait for them after and then just you will go one after another. Try to look at them. Maybe 4 of them could be covered with one test case. And maybe you will realize that just after, yeah, I can maybe save my time. So read all of them in front and bunch together the tickets that are familiar, let's say, that are similar. And just as I said, this also repeatable processes, these routines can help us in stressful situations also, let's say, if we are talking about a few days before releases, that is something that's really helpful. So yes, someone wants to share something? Did I inspire you? Okay, there is one more story from me, and it's notebook. And yeah, now it's a little bit funny, but it was not so funny when it was. It was when my twins were about a year and a half, and we planned to go together to the, let's say, vacation to my friend's house, just 3 of us, me and the twins. And let's say I was in another room, she was in one room, I was in another. I just need to make some telephone call or something really important. And when I came to the room, yeah, they have a notebook and they have a great time. They didn't pushing the keys, they were pulling them out. And there was like, Petra 1, Helena 1, Petra 1, Helena 1. And yeah, it actually looks something like this. It was really old notebook. It was like 20 years ago or something like that. Not 20, I don't know, 15. But yes, and it was really chaos. I couldn't believe it. I take the deep breath and take all these keys to the plastic bag. Luckily, it was the computer store in our street, so I just go to them. We wanted that day to go to the vacation, and then just I give him and say, please, can you make something? And they did it actually, and they give me at the end some extra parts. They didn't know what to do with that. I didn't also, but it was working. Because you don't know, you need to see somewhere and where every of these keys go. Yeah, really horrible. But we manage it. And yes, I think that children are really amazing, ultimate, I would say, exploratory testers. And that's something that I learned from these stories. And also in my life, the ideas to which come kids, children, it's really, I don't know, you cannot think about that if you are thinking 10 years, I think. So just try sometimes to behave as a kid, and because they don't follow any scripts, they follow just curiosity. And that is something that I would really like to embrace, this exploratory testing. Don't be afraid of it. So maybe you will destroy some testing environment. So what? Better destroy testing environment than someone destroy the production, I don't know, with this strange, stupid test. You never know who will work with that. So yes, I would really like to take this fresh perspective, to take a look to the things from some other angle, to go beyond the script and really to I heard, I don't know if any one of you have that, but some testing days. So like when, let's say a few days before production, I didn't implement it, but I maybe intend to try to talk with my bosses to adopt it. So when everybody, like developers, product owners, testers, consultants, everybody like one day take before release and everybody's testing, just exploratory testing, try whatever you want, wherever you want in the application. So I think that these things are also really great and can improve the quality of the product a lot, if you give it a time, let's say. So that is my stories. Do anyone want to add something? You will have just also a Q&A session, but if not, I would go to my conclusions. Anybody add some stories? I would like also to hear something from your side. Okay, let's see in the Q&A session then. So I think that you see that parenting is really full of lessons about creativity, about clarity, multitasking, communication, prioritization, just you name it. And all of these lessons can be adopted in testing, in leadership, in teamwork, where let's just go on. So everywhere in your career, in your business life. So I think that I can say, I don't know if you agree with me, that becoming a parent doesn't weaken your professional skills. It sharpens them just in a new way. And now, especially to someone working with the parents, and especially moms, because usually it's on them, I would like not to look at them just like someone with less time. Just go to work and at, I don't know, 4, 5, running home to be with their kids. But also to someone with a new skill set, built under pressure, fueled with love, and tested in a real life. So here is a survey for you. If you want, it is the similar question like on the beginning, just to see if you change your perspective a little bit, if anything changed, if you're now a little bit convinced that it could work together and it would give you something really positive. Okay, so I don't know, I will on the end of the presentation will leave you just to see the responses, but I think that you are a little bit more confident that it can go together. It's not very confident, but it's mostly confident. So yes, and almost 90% that it would develop your skills. So, just last sentence from me. May your home be full of love, your ticket clearly assigned, and your keyboard keys stay firmly in place. This is your session, and this is my LinkedIn contact information. I'm Jacqueline Polak-Matanovic, and yes, you can take this, and after that, I can give you also the results of the survey. Do you have questions? Do you want to share your stories? Yes, I see 2 hands, please.
Thank you for your talk. The only thing that I want to mention that was missing, missing,
yes,
not the correct approach, the failing part. Failing fast, failing to a safe environment, let's say. Try, fail again and again and again and again and again. This is the part that I think, because I have also kids, they fail, they learn from the failing, and they're not doing it again.
Yes.
This is the...
There is so many topics that I could talk, I don't know, 2-3 hours more. There are so many learnings from a parenting, but this is one of the really good I would say, learnings. Yes.
We have the situation that we need to, make the kids to have a roadmap and something, a guideline, how to do something or all of this, but we need to have them fail first.
And if I can add, so children do not have this fear of failing. They just, yes, okay, fail, so what? I will make it again. And I don't know when exactly, but somehow we are much more fearing of failing afterwards. And that is also something that, maybe it's not so hard, and it's not, it's all of us can learn from failing. It does not need to have some really bad consequences. So, yes, thanks for observation. So, and please. Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations. I think that in all of your stories, I found something that matched my case with my 2 children. What I wanted just to comment is that I think that in most cases we manage to organize our lives at home and our lives at work when they are running at different times. What about the new era after the corona, that we have to work and be parents at the same time because we work from home? Others every day, others some of the days. So this is a challenge that I am facing the last now 5-6 years. And the truth is that it is the most hard situation that I have lived, because during my work I have to struggle with my kids, and then I become a mother that has to shout at them and to kick them off the room, and after that, of course, I am full of guilt. So what is your opinion on that? How can we manage this?
In this question, where I didn't still make it, from my perspective, so appropriate is the time. Because I'm usually working from home, and then I always think that the things that I do during my work, then I need to make this time after work, and then I'm pretty often stay till, I don't know, 9 in the afternoon working. So that's not good. I would say that it's the best way if you can, if you have really spare room in your home, in your apartment, where you are working, and you really then, if you are in that room, then you are working, and you are just like it. Then it's the same if you are in that room because it's your working room, and or if you are in your, I don't know, office somewhere. Just you don't need so much time to get to this room. But if you can separate these two things, then you can also separate it, and then you will not have this problem like I have it. But I don't know if that can help you. Then and learn the kids to respect that your time. So if you are there, you are really not available. They can maybe ask or something, but really you are not available for some small things. Of course, if there is something, of course you are there, and you don't need so much time to come back. But separate that two things.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there is one on the end.
Thank you for your talk. I have a question about the part where you talked about that your kids took apart the keys on the keyboard of the notepad. So you told us that it's similar to exploratory testing, but I have a feeling that it might be also a case on regression testing. How do you differentiate that being regression or just a simple test case or exploratory?
I'm not sure that I understand. So, because that's something that if they are, for me, it's like really, this is just the survey that you do want. I will go on later. You can see it further. I'm not sure because how you can, regression testing is really going after some scripts. So, and I would not connect this behavior with regression testing.
Yes, because it was not set up in the beginning and it was just exploring new things.
Regression testing for me is something before production when you are going to hold the system and just look how it works, just some really important parts. That for me it's really something that you are exploring how it works. What I can do with that? I don't know. Let's try like this. Where we will go with that? So for me it's really exploring is something that when there is nowhere, when you are exploratory testing, when you have some experience and when you maybe want to break something, want to try this or this. So sorry if I didn't get it correctly, but...
Oh, no, that's great. That's a solid answer. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So more questions? Just here is, do you believe parenting skill can improve professional skills? So that's I think really nice. Did this talk change your perspective? Yes, okay, great. This is really nice. And how are you going? I think it's really nice to go from this conference or encouraged or motivated or inspired. All three options are really okay. So if it's same as before, let's make it. It's also nice. If it's also let's say motivated and inspired, why not? More stories. Okay then. You can. You had my LinkedIn information. If you came to something later on, you can contact me anyway. Ask me something or just connect whatever you want. It was my really pleasure to be part of this. I just said a family conference as I feel it, and thank you all for being here till the almost 6 in the evening. You managed the whole day, so thank you a lot. Yeah.